Out here in Pine Hollow, water is gold. My family has known that for over 100 years. So when the Clearwater Ridge HOA sent in a bulldozer and leveled my historic ranch barn, they didn't just tear down a structure. They declared war. What they didn't know: I control the dam valve that feeds the entire lake their luxury homes and $7 million resort revolve around. Let me back up. I'm Wes Colton, third-generation rancher and owner of Colton Creek Ranch, 200 acres of hardwood forest, rolling pasture, and a spring-fed creek that runs straight into Blue Heron Lake. That lake didn't exist naturally. It was formed by a dam my grandfather helped build in 1952. The county signed easements with him back then. The water flows through our land, and we retain full control of the upstream gate valve. Flash forward to last year. The once quiet neighboring parcel was transformed into Clearwater Ridge, a luxury development with identical modern farmhouse homes, a golf course, and their pride and joy: a man-made lake with a clubhouse, paddle boats, and an infinity-edge pool overlooking the water. They called it Blue Heron Resort at Clearwater Ridge. And here's where the trouble began. The old barn, built by my grandfather with hand-milled pine beams and iron nails, sat near the edge of our shared property line. It wasn't just a barn. It was a working building, housing fencing supplies, hay storage, and sometimes cattle when storms rolled in. Structurally sound, fully permitted. But it didn't fit the aesthetic of the new HOA. First, they complained about the unpainted wood. Then the sagging roofline, which was false. Next, I received a letter accusing me of violating some viewscape ordinance that Clearwater Ridge had adopted. Never mind that I'm not in their HOA or even subject to their rules. I ignored the nonsense until one Thursday morning, I woke to a crash. I sprinted outside to see a backhoe and a private construction crew flattening my barn, and two HOA board members, including their smug president, Shannon Davenport, standing nearby with lattes in hand like they were watching HGTV. I lost it. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" I shouted. Shannon smirked. "We're removing an eyesore. You'll thank us later. We've already started plans for a privacy wall." They claimed it was abandoned, unsafe, and encroaching. All lies. No permits. No notice. Just pure arrogance. I called the sheriff. They called their lawyers. The sheriff documented the damage, but said it would have to go through civil court. And civil court meant months of filings and delays. But I had a much faster lever. The dam valve. The HOA didn't know it, but the lake that gave their properties that sky-high value? It relies on a steady flow of water from Colton Creek, and the gate valve that controls that flow sits in a locked concrete vault on my land, accessible only by key. That key's been hanging in my shop for 30 years. So I called my lawyer, documented everything, and confirmed one thing. I was legally allowed to restrict or divert the water so long as it didn't violate my state riparian rights. And since the lake was man-made and the HOA didn't own the source, I had every right to close the valve. And so I did. On Friday at 3 p.m., I shut the valve. The effect wasn't immediate, but by Sunday evening, the waterline had dropped 18 inches. By Tuesday, it looked like someone pulled the plug. Boats were grounded in mud. The resort's pool pumps failed. By Wednesday, algae bloomed across the shallow end, and HOA members were furious. Shannon called me screaming. "You've drained our lake. That's criminal." "No, Shannon," I said calmly. "What's criminal is trespassing, destruction of private property, and unauthorized demolition of a 100-year-old barn." Then I hung up. The fallout was brutal. Resort guests demanded refunds and left in droves. The HOA board held an emergency meeting in the clubhouse with no AC because their geothermal cooling relied on the lake. Property values plummeted by 17% in a single month. Meanwhile, I filed a $750,000 lawsuit for property destruction, trespassing, and loss of historic value. The county's historical society even joined in, adding pressure to the civil case. Facing a total collapse, both financially and literally, the drying lakebed began cracking the retaining wall. The HOA settled out of court. They agreed to pay me $635,000 in damages. Rebuild the barn using authentic materials. Issue a formal written apology, which now hangs framed inside the new barn. As for the valve, still mine, still locked. They now pay a monthly water usage fee, and I installed a meter to track every drop. If they get uppity again, well, I've got the key.